Hello chess friends and welcome to the channel. Today is round 3 of the World Chess Olympiad in Georgia. There are so many good games that are being played that it's difficult to choose. Some of them, in fact, I want to show you when the Olympiads are over. Today, one of the strongest matches was played between USA and Netherlands. And the game that I chose to show you is Wesley versus Erwin Lamy, the famous grandmasters that not only is very strong in chess, but he also was so wise to marry Alina Lamy. And I don't know if you know her, but she's a super nice girl that is a very strong female chess player, but also a great photographer. And maybe I will put a link in the description to some of her photographs. Anyway, coming back to our game, the game was Ruy Lopez and Wesley won a great game. If you like my content, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, so I can show you many more great games. But now, let's start. E4 for Wesley, E5 for Erwin Lamy, knight in F3, knight in C6, and bishop in B5, the Ruy Lopez. Knight in F6, threatening the pawn, and here plays D3 to avoid an open Berlin. D6 for black and castle for white. G6 now. The variation with the bishop in fianchetto. This idea is good, but has just one problem. It's a bit slow. So white can take some action in the center of the board. In this position, we can say that G6, that we said that it's a bit slow, is compensated by the fact that the white player already played D3. So, if he wants to attack the center with D4, this pawn will be moved 2 times. Okay. In fact, Wesley plays D4. Now, bishop in D7 by the black player. And why not to complete the fianchetto as soon as possible? Because after bishop in G7, D capture in E5, and the black player can't recapture with the knight because it's pinned. So among the many replies, the best option for black is to capture in E4. But white pressure becomes so strong that we can say that this line is almost surely losing for black. Let's see how it goes. Rook in E1, attacking the knight. Now, if bishop in F5, protecting the knight, white can play G4 with the winning position, because after bishop capture in G4, rook capture with tempo, and it's perfectly fine for white. After rook in E1, if D5, C4. It's already more than +1 for white. Black can continue with bishop in E6. Now knight in E4, attacking a second time the knight in C6. Even if this knight stop defending the E5 pawn, white is still in control, because after bishop capture in E5, knight capture in C6 that attacks both the queen and the bishop. Also, when the knight moves is discovered check, so it's a very dangerous position. Black must capture in H2 with check. Here white shouldn't capture now, because the queen will go away with tempo in H4. So after king in F1, again black has the same problem. Of course, if the knight is captured with the pawn, bishop recapture with check wins the quality. And so after king in F1, the queen must go away in F6, and this move is again with tempo, because it threatens checkmate in 1 in F2. But white can answer with queen in F3, queen capture, G capture, threatening the knight, and then there are so many threats now that whatever black plays, white's remains in the match with a quite comfortable advantage. So that's why after d4, Erwin Lamy doesn't complete the fianchetto, and he plays bishop in d7. That is the main line in this type of opening. d5 now, attacking the knight. Knight in e7. Bishop capture in d7 we check. Knight capture and c4. And white, of course, has the space advantage. Now the bishop in fianchetto. Bishop in e3. And h6. This is theory, because the idea is to avoid queen in d2 and then bishop in h6 to that will be changed with the bishop of the black player, and white will have the advantage on the dark squares. So that's why h6. Knight in f goes in d2, and Lamy plays f5 because he wants to be the first one to take some action on the f file. Now he tries to open it, but Wesley saw answer with f3, and then he chooses to close this file with f4, attacking the bishop. Bishop comes back in f2, and now g5. g5 because he needs space for the knight. Knight in c3 for white, knight in g6. And c5. This is not an inaccuracy, not a mistake, but Wesley wants to force Lamy to capture. So he can exchange this bishop on the knight. And why? Because this bishop will be always limited by this pawn chain. In fact, after c5, Lamy capture, knight capture c5, bishop capture, d capture in c5. Black is a pawn up, but it doesn't matter now. Queen in b3, attacking the b7 pawn, and b6. And now d6. This is a risky move. It's not completely sound, because from the computer now black has a little advantage, but this position is dangerous for the black player. Of course, here Lamy can't capture with the pawn, because knight in e6 we check is deadly, wins instantly, and so he must capture with the queen in d6 that controls the e6 square. Knight in c4, attacking the queen, queen in c6, and rook in f goes in d1, controlling the file. Here, of course, black can't castle, because knight capture in b6 we check is a discovered check. So after c4, queen capture, again we check, the queen must be exchanged, and knight recapture in c4, and white, of course, is better. And so in this position, Lamy plays knight in f8, because he wants... at first I thought that he wanted to control this square also with the knight, but then it seems that the first idea is that he wants to relocate the knight here. Rook in d5, second attack to this pawn, and knight in e6. Knight capture, in e5 attacking the queen, bishop capture in e5, and rook capture in e5. It's a second attack on the knight. c4, queen in a3. Again, Lamy can't castle here, because the queen is threatening the square, and if he castle long, he loses this pawn, and the queen infiltrates very dangerously. So he plays king in f7. Now at least the rooks are connected. Rook in f5 we check, king in g6, and knight in d5. Erwin Lamy here tries to hold the position, exchanging the queens. With queen in c5 we check, also attacking the white queen. But Wesley was accumulating until now some little advantages that at the end they will be important. Queen capture in c5, knight capture in c5, and rook in f6 we check. king in g7, now rook in c6, it's a second attacker on the pawn. Here it would be better for Lamy to play rook in c8, instead he play rook in h goes in e8. So Wesley plays rook capture in c7 with check, and king in g6. h4 now. A bit stronger than h4 was to play this rook in c1 or in d1, in c1 because black can't play b5 to protect the pawn, if not he lose the knight. But anyway, Wesley plays h4. Rook in a goes in d8, and this is the last inaccuracy, because h5 with check, the king is forced to capture, it's the only move. And now the knight fork, knight in f6 with check, also forking the rook. King in h4, knight capture in e8, rook capture in e8, king in h2, g4, rook in h1, and g3 with check. The king moves and is discovered a check by the rook, and the black king must go in g5. Now in this position the only threat comes from this rook that threatens mate in d1. So the white king moves in f1, rook in d8, and king in e2. Here white shouldn't fear nothing else. Knight in e6, attacking the rook, rook capture in c4, knight in d4 with check, and the king must go in e1. There is only another little problem for white, that this rook is a bit trapped here on the king side. h5, rook in c7, that of course want to go and give check from behind, king in g6, and the rook comes back in c3. King again in g5, rook in d3. Now the black rook is indirectly attacked and the knight is pinned. h4, king in d1, and at this point Lamy could resign, because white king was able, or it will be able to play the next move king in c1, so this rook is free and the game is won. But he kept playing. a5. As we said here, king in c1 is enough to win, but Wesley plays the best move, that is a4. Rook in d6, e5, attacking the rook, rook in d8. Here I go fast because there is little to enjoy or to explain too. Rook in d2, king in h5, rook in e1, h3, g capture in h3, king in h4, and e6. And here the best move that was played by Lamy is knight capture in e6, because any other move, after any other move, Wesley could play e7, and of course the rook must move and lose the knight anyway. So after knight capture in e6 and rook capture in e6, the black player resigned. And with this move, I also end this game commentary, and I hope that you like this game. As I said, many other games are very nice. For example, the game played by Anand, and some of those games, the game of Anand in particular, I will surely show in the future, in the next days. Okay, so if you like the game, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. But for now, thanks for watching and goodbye.